The Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and online at WGNSradio.com.
What is up? Welcome to One Show, giving you the truth about personal finance. This is Financial Coaching Radio, and I'm your host, Jason Qualls, certified financial planner, one of the only independent commission-free financial advisors in Rutherford County. For all about me, check out jasonquallscfp.com. That's JasonQuallsCFP.com. If you want to be a part of the show, click any of the social media links at financialcoachingradio.com. The Wall Street executives are saying we have a debt crisis, a global debt risk that could affect us all. And these are just one of the things, the snippets that the financial shows, whether it be a podcast or what. There's a lot of risk we have in the global market. No one can dispute that. We have war threats and war issues and how everything's intertwined. And I'm not an economist and not going to pretend to even play one on TV. And there's a lot of things politically that you may or may not agree with. But as folks that are just regular everyday people, whether you're worth $20 million or you're worth $20, the main part of your investment or financial plan should be to control the things that you can control. Now, you can say, well, I can control politicians with how I vote. Possibly, if you have enough people on your same side. But at the end of the day, what politicians do or don't do, you have no control. What happens globally, you have no control. And in essence, you don't have control over the tax system, other than who you vote for and if the people you vote for win. So the focus in your financial life for most Americans, unless you're one of these influential donors or you're a politician, you need to work on controlling what you can control. And for the most part, that is going to be how much you save, where you save it, how much you're paying for your planning and your investments, and the type of advisor that you're working with. Focus on things that are in your world. So that usually means know what type of investment strategy you have, why you have it, and also what you're paying for that investment and financial plan, because a lot of people in the financial industry, in my view, charge way too much. And what you can do about it is you can get a second opinion on your investments, on your financial plan, and make sure you're on the right path. Do that with an independent fee-only certified financial planner. After the break, we'll be talking estate planning with John Baker, estate planning attorney. Make sure you keep it locked in right here on WGNS. I'm back right after this.
Hey, Financial Coaching Radio listeners, if you don't understand exactly how your financial advisor is compensated, you could be in big trouble. My name is Jason Qualls, a commission-free certified financial planner. To learn more about why my process is so unique, go to jasonquallscfp.com or call 878-2134 today. Okay, folks, I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. If you were my client or a loved one, I would never let you get your wills done online. This is truly a case of where you only get what you pay for, and those you leave behind will be the ones to pay the price. Go see estate planning attorney John Baker today by calling 896-5621 or go to bakercounsel.com. Again, that's 896-5621 or bakercounsel.com. Get the expert estate planning advice you need today.
Did you know that the U.S. tax code has over 70,000 pages? This is precisely why you must have a tax expert on your team. The folks at TH&W CPAs have been providing their expertise to individuals and businesses in Middle Tennessee for over 50 years. And now they have an office right here in Murfreesboro. Call Kevin Sizemore today with TH&W CPAs at 848-1072. That's 848-1072 or online at thwcpa.com.
Welcome back to the show. This is Financial Coaching Radio. I'm Jason Qualls, certified financial planner. Joining in now is John Baker, estate planning attorney. BakerCounsel.com is the web address for John. John, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thanks, Jason. Great to be here.
Last week, I touched on this, and I want to get your take as well. We have a lot of technology changes in all aspects of life, but also in estate planning. There was a survey that was done, and it was astronomical, off the charts. I don't remember the numbers, but it was like 2/3 of the up-and-coming generation is most likely to use AI for their estate planning. So have you heard about people drafting their estate planning documents with artificial intelligence?
Well, not anything directly. You know, you read a little bit about things out there, but I don't think there's anything out there right now that I would want to rely on. If you were going to do it yourself, I would probably use some of the more traditional internet, or systems that do that. I just don't know that I would trust AI right now because it's new and I don't, but I'm sure it's going to evolve and we'll see more of that as it gets incorporated into some of the self-serve, estate planning systems out there. But I think it'll have the same limitations, though, or similar limitations that the traditional self-help systems have, is that it's going to be real hard to get that personal, customized counseling that it requires a lot to do good estate planning. And you're still going to have pitfalls if you don't do something just right, or if it makes an error, you could really cause a problem with your estate, which of course is something you've accumulated over your lifetime. And so, I would still want an attorney involved, for your estate planning, because it's your life's accumulation, and you got kind of one shot at it. You're not going to, you're retired, you've made your wealth, and you're not going to go back and work again and start that all over. So you want to get it right. It's not really an area to be penny wise and pound foolish, and so
not yet, for sure.
But I'm sure it's going to evolve, and we'll see more of that, and we'll see where it goes. But it's kind of like anything else that you do in your life that you feel really requires personal interaction. If you're brainstorming, when we get together in a group and trying to figure things out, I still find that's better in person even than doing it on something like a Zoom video conference.
Or if there's like a legal question that you don't deal with that often, or you're just a consumer that wants to know a quick answer, maybe just ask, hey, do I need a trust? Those kind of general questions, and get some general information. But as far as letting it draft the document, you're going to run into some privacy concerns too, right?
Yeah, well, of course, now if you just go out to one of these AI systems and say, draft me a will, there's no telling what you're going to get. But
we should try that.
But eventually, I assume that we're going to evolve, and some of these systems that are not AI now will become AI, and those will be focused on estate planning. But I would still be real hesitant to want to rely on that, for my life's work. You've spent your life.
This is a criminal situation. It was a case, U.S. versus Hippner. Bradley Hippner used generative AI platform to assist in his legal defense strategy. He prepared detailed reports outlining his defense strategies, much like sensitive brainstorming someone may engage in estate planning. When federal agents seized his electronic devices, they discovered dozens of documents detailing these AI exchanges. His legal team fought to keep them private, arguing they were protected by attorney-client privilege.
Well, yeah.
So now he was claiming that AI was his attorney.
Well, yeah. I know.
The court, you can guess what the court said.
I tell you what, I haven't come across that yet, and I don't think our rules and ethical requirements and all of that have really addressed that yet, but it's probably coming.
So the privacy policy trap, the judge pointed that the AI provider's own privacy policy, which stated the company collects user inputs to train its models and reserves the right to disclose that data to third parties. So what is the privacy
So generally,
issue with estate planning? How does that? Where I know you guys, if you're as attorney-client privilege, like someone,
right?
And the criminal thing, I think we all know it. We can't. But how does that work in the privacy with estate planning?
So with your attorney-client communications are confidential, okay, and but you can lose that confidentiality if you're exposing it to third parties, or if a third party is in the meeting, and I think that's what this article you've read is indicating, that his interactions with this tech company that has this AI program, that's not an attorney, and their policies say it can be disclosed to third parties. So that's not going to be confidential, because it's not between you and your attorney in a private type setting.
As estate planning, I guess if it were like legal action to go, hey, let's find out what this person owns to see if we can sue them.
That's right. So what they're saying in a civil setting, this is discoverable communications that this person had with somebody that are not privileged because it wasn't an attorney. And they're saying the AI...
Yeah, I don't know how they would ever get around that, if you're using AI to draft these documents.
Yeah, no. It's not an attorney. Well, and the systems, and I'm sure as these evolve and they develop AI systems for generating wills and powers of attorney and whatnot, they will probably say what the current systems say, and which is that we are not an attorney, we're not providing legal advice. These are self-help documents. You do this at your own risk.
Sure. And a good rule of thumb, according to this article, says never enter into AI what you wouldn't want a judge to read.
Yeah, and it's kind of like with email. We all at least certainly in business and professional settings communicate a lot with email, and you should never put in email anything that you wouldn't want read in a courtroom. Because
or social media, and that's a big
social
one.
media or anything like that. That's
or
right.
text message.
That's right. It's all discoverable. These are discoverable, non-privileged communications, unless you have a privilege that would apply, like with your attorney.
You're listening to Financial Coaching Radio. I'm Jason Quall, certified financial planner. We're talking estate planning with John Baker, estate planning attorney. This is the first I've heard of this, John. You may be a little more up to speed with this. There could be a Medicare home benefit for long-term care that's going to be increased, a universal home care benefit for people with physical and cognitive limitations. So now Medicare only has, 60 days or something like that if you have a skilled care type need?
Yeah,
so this indicates maybe this is going to be increased, or the proposal to increase.
Yeah, and I don't know the specifics on that, but how the system basically works is that if you Medicare will pay for rehabilitation. So if you've had an accident or you've had an injury or an illness, and you've been in the hospital, and now you need to go to a skilled nursing facility for rehabilitation, Medicare will cover that. Basically 100% for 20 days, and then it will vary after that depending on what type of plan you have, up to 100 days, and then at 100 days Medicare will no longer pay for the rehabilitation, and then you're in a private setting. So maybe there's some talk of
it's a group of influential policy experts has designed this plan. This plan will be available to who have those significant disabilities or cognitive needs. This plan has the potential to integrate medical treatment with personal care. developed at the Brookings Institution. So they're trying to switch it off the Medicaid system to Medicare. Obviously, that would take some huge legislative changes, but also how you going that would. So now, and I don't. So the Medicaid is the biggest payer of long-term care, and that's a state-run thing. But it's still funded by the federal government to an extent, right?
Yeah, so it's mostly funded by the federal government. Medicaid and
so what will be the difference there if we just switch it and say, instead of doing it as a state program, let's just have it be universal?
Yeah, it may be. It sounds like it's a design to provide for some long-term care benefit under the Medicare systems, because currently Medicare will pay, like I said, up to 100 days for rehabilitative type care, and we call that short-term care. Currently, Medicare does not pay for what we would call long-term care, which would be care after that. That's when people often will try to get to the Medicaid benefit, not the Medicare, but the Medicaid benefit, which in Tennessee is TennCare, and that program is a need-based program. It's not you have to qualify, which means you have limited income and limited financial resources. And but Medicare, I think an important point, and people get confused about it, is that Medicare pays for short-term care, not long-term care. Medicaid is what people will often apply for when they need long-term care, and they have complicated and financial restrictions that you have to meet in order to get the Medicaid. Otherwise, you're essentially private paying for nursing home care if it's a nursing home, and nursing homes cost about $10,000 a month right now. The other thing is Medicaid in Tennessee is primarily for nursing home care. There is an at-home program, that can sometimes be used, but you have to meet that high level of care, the need for what we call skilled care. That's medical care versus just assistance in other activities, what you might get in an assisted living facility or even maybe at home.
And this is something that's been discussed for decades.
Right.
Is it a large drain on our system? Is it something that you see as someone that this is your expertise? Do we need these changes to kind of preserve our financial system later on? Because it doesn't seem like it's a huge priority.
Yeah, well, I
compared
think
to other issues that politicians just seem to want to challenge themselves with. This, you got the baby boomer generation. They're going to really spend a lot of time in skilled care, and they're going to have someone to pay for it.
Yeah, I think there has. I think probably for decades has been discussions and proposals to develop some sort of broad or universal type of health care for. System for to finance long-term care, but we really just haven't. Therefore, it tends to default to the Medicaid program, which of course is very costly. And I heard one economist say one time, this is not funding long-term care. It's not a savings issue. In other words, people saving their money for long-term care. It's a risk allocation, a risk issue, and how we allocate risk. And of course, that's what insurance is. When you say insurance, it's a matter of spreading risk over a large body of people to make a system work. So we need a system that will cover long-term care better than what we have, but we don't have one presently. So we
and to have it spread the risk, you got to have people put into the system, and that means there's a certain amount of people that it won't be able to afford to put into the system. So other people would put in more, and then we're back to the same old with universal health care. While we couldn't even achieve that. And I don't know what would be more expensive. Is a lifetime medical care more expensive than a long-term care? I would say probably yes.
So what we're left with is our disjointed healthcare system,
and it probably will always be that way.
And I just don't see any quick fixes to it, unfortunately.
We're going to take our next break, and this is Financial Coaching Radio. I'm Jason Qualls, certified financial planner. Keep it locked in right here on WGNS.
have a financial plan? I'm not talking about a worthless binder full of pretty charts and graphs. Are you certain you're on track to reach all your financial goals? A comprehensive financial plan is about so much more than just your IRA and mutual funds. It involves risk management, tax planning, professional investment management, retirement, and estate planning. Make sure your entire financial life is in order by calling me, Jason Qualls, a commission-free certified financial planner, at 878-2134, or go to my website, jasonquallscfp.com. Buying a house is stressful, and so is shopping for a mortgage. Take my advice and get a second opinion on the mortgage for your new home or your refinance. Not all banks and mortgage companies are created equal. Trust me on this. Call my friend Marshall Sparkman with Franklin Synergy Bank at 615-439-0885. Great team, great process, and the best rates. Marshall Sparkman with Franklin Synergy Bank at 615-439-0885.
Financial Coaching Radio back with you. This is Jason Qualls, Certified Financial Planner. Listen to the show anytime, any place at financialcoachingradio.com. We're talking estate planning with John Baker, estate planning attorney. Michael Jackson is thrown back into the media with his new biopic film. He died, 2009? Multi-billion-dollar estate, still being battled out by his children. I want to say he left a 5-page will that left everything he owned to a family trust. That's a bizarre estate planning tactic there. Does it sounds like to me? How do you have a will that leaves everything to a trust? Wouldn't everything already be in the trust?
Well, who knows how I mean.
It sounds like that would be an estate tax nightmare.
With an estate of that size, if we just talk about the everyday person that does a revocable trust plan, we think most of their assets, if not everything, is going to be with their trust.
Right, that's the way I would.
So they don't need the will to probate. But we do a will anyway, just in case something got left out of their planning. We can probate that will and get the asset over to the trust. That's called a pour-over will. And so when I hear, there's a will that pays to a trust, I think, well, maybe it's just one of these pour-over situations. And in a real complicated estate, there may be other reasons to open probate, such as cutting off creditors and things, where even if we did have a well-developed plan, they would open a probate anyways, just to deal with other issues that might come up in a very complicated estate. And I remember when Jimmy Buffett died, I haven't read much. I didn't really hear a whole lot coming out of his estate, but I did remember reading there was a will probated. I forget where's it probated. I think it was in Florida. But it paid over to a trust, and that's really, I really never heard much more than that.
Yeah, the word on the street was his planning was kind of top notch.
And so that's what I would suspect, because we haven't heard much from it. But in the Michael Jackson case, we've been hearing about it for years, which leads me to think that it probably wasn't the ideal plan for somebody in that level of net worth.
The trust of Michael Jackson left everything to his 3 children and his mother, but nearly 2 decades later, the estate, now worth an estimated $2 billion, $2 billion, hasn't been fully distributed to the trust. His daughter Paris is saying the executors have mishandled the estate. She accuses the executors of paying themselves and the estate's lawyers too much, and for leaving $464 million owned by the estate uninvested. If that's true, it would mean there is less money than there should have been left over for her and her father, other heirs. It's a lot of money to be fighting over, but
I don't know if his mother became the trustee or who it was, but the why
are they talking? See, this is just a misquote of the article, because it's talking about executors, but everything's in a trust. They would be trustees.
But you would, when you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars, this needs to be professionals involved here, not just a family member. This is complicated stuff. Like here, apparently the child is suing or complaining that the trust or the estate has not invested properly. I mean, that's, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's, that shouldn't happen and it should be professionally managed so that it is invested properly.
Yeah, what financial firm does not want to manage almost $500 million?
Right. I mean, you could get the best in the world doing something like this. So
the Jackson estate is the one who financed the recent biopic film, and she says it's a botched production. This is one of these situations where it's so common, right? It doesn't really matter how you lay out the estate plan. When you're dealing with this kind of money, it seems no one is happy. No one ever is thrilled.
And,
and it seems like the lower the estate is, it's kind of like, hey, I don't want to fight about it. Just give me 30% and you take 7%. Not in every case, but it seems the more money that's involved, the more they want to squabble about it.
Yeah, you'll see that happen a lot. A kind of a completely different scenario completely, but the Kennedy family is kind of famous for trust planning, going back to the patriarch Joseph Kennedy, who first earned their wealth through the investment banking in the early 1900s, and he was famous for setting up trust for the family, and to this day the Kennedys operate largely out of trust, but they have professional trust company that does nothing, that their job is the Kennedy Trust, and very sophisticated operation. The individual family member is not running that trust. They have professional trustees, professional management company. It's when you're talking about hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, to my opinion, I think you got to have professionals doing this at basically every level. Maybe there's a family member that does have a trustee role in there somewhere, or an advisor role, but you've got to have professionals when you're talking about that type of complexity.
Yeah, and it mentions just that so if the executor is also a beneficiary, meaning they are named in the will of the trust, the situation can be more complicated because they have personal financial stake in the outcome, and that is
and like you were saying, the larger the estate, the more sensitive that's going to be.
Let's see who managed the estate. Let's see who is it. It doesn't really list. It listed the people who were involved, but they weren't family members.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of professional financial and tax. And,
well, I think the claim here is that one of the executors, if it's a trustee or whatever who they're claiming, is also a music executive. So I guess making the claim that there's a conflict there. Yeah. One is an entertainment lawyer. One is a music. That wouldn't indicate that they're experts in estate planning,
and
right?
and maybe you have somebody like that is a trustee, but then it's going, then they should be hiring, and maybe they need to be hiring the experts, to really navigate this and to make proper investments and tax decisions and management decisions and maybe even distribution decisions. So it's.
Well, just imagine any estate. It takes 20 years to resolve.
And it sounds like this one will be in dispute for quite a while.
I think the article said that the daughter, Paris, has only received, not this is a small amount of money, only received $65 million. But if it's worth $2 billion and it's split 4 ways, that's still a significant amount, far away from what her share would be.
Yeah, it's just... I don't know. You could have the best estate plan in the world and not be able to completely eliminate problems. And when you have a very large estate, there may be things worth fighting over, even with a well-designed estate. But
do you think Warren Buffett's going to have an issue giving everything he had to charity, or most of it?
Didn't they come to some agreement, or maybe
he's already gifted it away, right?
I
think it's already done.
I think the fight in that family was about who was going to manage the media empire. Wasn't there one family member that one child that was favored, and then there were some others that were disputing. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was. It seems like there was some litigation or maybe a settlement on some of that recently.
Well, the moral of every story when you're worth multi-millions or billions is you got to make sure, one, you want to avoid all the extra costs. One be the inheritance tax. And the way to do that is through proper planning. It doesn't sound like there's a major inheritance tax issue here. It's just people cannot decide. Even though it's laid out clear where the money should go, it's just it sounds like being mismanaged. Is what it sounds like.
Sounds like it's there's some there's mismanagement questions and the role of the family, the mother or whoever is executor and trustee. So there's some issues that are there, but it's a very large estate and it's people. The more there is to fight about, and the more likely they're going to fight about it. So,
well, John, I appreciate your help today and your expertise. John Baker, estate planning attorney, BakerCounsel.com. BakerCounsel.com. John, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jason. See you later.
All right, stick with us right after this short break. I'll be back right after this.
How much are your investments costing you each year? Most people don't have a clue. Why is this extremely important? Because overpaying by just 1% a year in fees and expenses can reduce your account balance at retirement by 28%. You heard me right. 28% less at retirement. I'm commission-free, certified financial planner Jason Qualls. I don't sell financial products. I don't accept commissions or kickbacks from investment companies. Give me a call today for a free unbiased investment review at 878-2134 or visit my website, jasonquallscfp.com. A recent undercover study found that over 89% of paid tax preparers made mistakes. You heard me right, over 89%. Is your tax person making mistakes? Tax mistakes cost you money and may even lead to an IRS audit. I recommend you get a second opinion on your tax return today by calling Tutherow Helen Welch CPAs at 848-1072. Tutherow Helen Welch has been providing tax services to individuals and businesses for over 50 years. So call them today at 848-1072 or go to thwcpa.com.
Welcome back to the show. Appreciate you joining in today and every day, 4 o'clock right here on WGNS, unless there is a local sports conflict. Anytime online at financialcoachingradio.com. Stream the show. You can stream it live. You can get the past shows. Click on the archive section at financialcoachingradio.com. If you're looking to learn more about what I do, your host, Jason Qualls, certified financial planner. I am one of the only independent commission-free financial advisors in Rutherford County. Jason Qualls, CFP.com for that. And we've spent a lot of the time today talking about estate planning, and the moral of the story is if you put off estate planning, you do it incorrectly, or you do an online service, or you're using AI, if you're trying to kind of skirt the complexity of it, and estate planning really isn't that complex. It is really essentially some legal documents, some core legal documents that you need. For most people, it's going to be a will and or trust and powers of attorney. It's that. You just got to take action and get it done. Make sure you're getting a second opinion from an estate planning expert, and an expert in every area of your financial life. I'm going to check out of here for today. Appreciate you listening to me and WGNS. I'll be back at you tomorrow, same time, same channel. Keep it locked in on WGNS for your local talk. I'll be back at you tomorrow.